When working with the area of the body governed by the Svadhishthana chakra, the pelvis, we need to think about two things. One, strength and containment, and the other, movement, fluidity, directing the energy that we are able to access and stir up by our other work. So one of the best postures for creating containment or strength in an area of the body that's often quite weak for many of us is the hip balance pose. So you'd start with your hands on the floor behind you and your feet on the floor in front of you, knees bent, and then lift up strongly through the lower back, not arching or throwing the rib cage forward, but just elongating through the spine. Sit bones down, crown of the head lifts, so there's a very lifted feeling. And the lower belly moves in. So there's strengthening and engagement in the lower abdominal wall, the whole abdominal wall actually, as well as the muscles along the back of the lower back area, the sacrum, even up into the lumbar spine. So we're going to engage both of those to support the lift in the spine and to give containment and shape to the pelvis that allows us to direct or channel the energy of the second chakra center. Now, to intensify the strengthening aspects of it, we'll be able to lift the feet off the floor. So remember, the important thing is to keep the engagement and the length through the spine. So you will find that you're tilting back slightly, but there's still a strong lift. There's not a collapsing or a rounding of the back. And then to continue to intensify the work, bring the arms alongside. You can hold the backs of the thighs. It makes it a little easier. You draw the torso towards the thighs towards the torso, and then letting go of the hold with the hands, just lengthening the arms alongside is the next step. And then finally, the most difficult version would be to straighten the legs. And you can either hold the back of the legs, or you can straighten them and just keep the arms alongside. And then when you're ready, you'll bend the feet down the floor. It takes a little practice and strength. It's a very wonderful pose, and we'll try it just one more time, perhaps going to the one that is most interesting to you on the second repetition. So you'll see Dana is now drawing the thighs and the torso together. She's lifting strongly. She's released with the arms, and she may or may not straighten the legs, but that's the one that brings you into the full expression of the pose. So this, you want to keep breathing easily and hold for 5, 6, 7 breaths, maybe even up to 10, or do a couple of repetitions, again, to kind of build that strength. And this is not only strengthening, but also directing, because of the alignment in the spine. There's a channeling energetically from the pelvis up through the entire energetic centers through the spine. Then, to kind of further facilitate an opening and a releasing and a stirring up energetically, bringing on the movement that's also indicative of this center, the Svadhishthana, the pelvic center related to the water element. Open the knees out to the side with the soles of the feet together. This is baddha konasana, and you can bring the feet either right into the pubic bones or a little further away. So we vary in our capacity for rotating the hips externally. So for some people, the knees will be really down and you can bring the feet way in close to the pelvis. Most of us will need or be a little more comfortable with the feet a little further out. The important thing, again, is to be able to sit up really tall and straight through the back and press the knees down. And the result of that will be a lift up the front of the spine again, sort of mobilizing the energy in the pelvis and moving it up, drawing it out of the legs through the centers of the pelvis and up. And again, an easy breath, even when there's a strong action going on here, facilitates this sense of ease and movement and the containing and channeling energetically. And then the other expression of this posture is to come forward into a forward bend. And in that one, you'll hold the toes or the ankles and folding from the crease of the hip forward. So it's not a collapsing, kind of a telescoping down, but rather elongating and drawing forward. So this brings a little more challenge and activation into the lower back and the inner thighs. And also the lower belly engages to draw you back and up The sit bones draw back and up. Come up on an inhalation, and then we'll swing the legs around and be face down on the floor, furthering both the activation and the strengthening of the container with the shalabhasana, or the locust pose. The arms are alongside for this, and you'll be either on the forehead or the chin. And we'll begin by lifting one leg at a time on an inhale. So you lift, the pelvis stays on the floor here, just lifting the leg, and exhale down and lift the other side, the other leg. And you can continue with this, either holding longer or doing more repetitions to build some strength in this area. But the full expression of the pose and the most energetically engaging is to bring to lift both the legs and the pelvis. So both the pelvis and the legs lift off the floor, meaning the action, the downward pressing of the arms is what allows you to lift the pelvis. For most of us, the arms underneath the body will give more lift, and usually fisting the hands and keeping the arms straight. Inhale and lift. So you can see the legs are lifted much higher and the pelvis is lifted slightly. And again, depending on a number of factors, you may come higher or lower. But it's the activation that we're after, so it's not how high you lift that really matters. You can see Dana holds for a nice long time. She's very strong in this area, so she's able to keep the legs lifted, to breathe, and really energetically be strong here. When you come down, you'll remove the arms to the side and relax, turn your head to one side. And then breathe. Just to let yourself relax and feel, because this is a pose that stirs up a lot of energy, and you can feel it kind of coursing through the whole body. So the sense of that fluidity and movement that's characteristic of the Svadhishthana Chakra is very evident at the completion of this pose. So there's a release of a lot of energy that's often caught or stagnant in the pelvis that's out of not usually accessed by us. So, and then because the lower back is often strongly working here, it helps to soothe it a bit by coming into child's pose when you're ready to finish this little sequence. So breathing into the lower back and just letting yourself soften and round here. And you'll feel the breath coming and meeting the containment in the pelvis in this pose in particular. So it's easy to bring your attention to the pelvis and to the role that the support of the pelvis and also the fluidity and movement of the breath, all of that's very obvious in this pose.